Hey everyone, it's Stax here. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and if this video isn't too bad, leave a like. So, checking out Donny Cates' Thor #1. Nick Klein is going to be the artist on the series, and I usually don't mention the editors, but you have Sarah Brunstad and Will Moss as your editors. Your color artist is Matthew Wilson, and we'll get right into this. This is a good book. It's coming off of Jason Aaron's long run on Thor, where he did everything with Thor. He went from Unworthy to Jane Foster Thor to, the War of the Realms. So much happened to Thor during that Jason Aaron run, and it concluded with his King Thor run, the 4-part series he did with that. But honestly, this is a good jumping on point. This is, if you didn't read War of the Realms, you're not going to be lost. There's some characters that moved around, but it quickly addresses it. It's not a big issue. You're not going to be lost jumping into this. The book starts with a really cool shot of Mjolnir just ripping through all 10 of the realms. And it comes with a message basically saying that, there's been enough war. There's been enough death. We've all suffered enough. This here, it stops with me. It ends with me. So hear the message all across the realms. Let there be peace, or let there be thunder. And when this thing finally finds its target, it's right through the head of this giant monster that the Avengers are fighting there on Earth. And this thing just collapses down in front of Iron Man and Captain America. And Tony Stark, of course, not missing a beat, looks over at Steve and asks, "Anybody got a Sharpie?" Back on Asgard, Thor is kind of pleased with himself and bragging about how even Odin couldn't have made that shot back in the day. He's sitting there talking to Lady Sif, who now is essentially the new Heimdall and has the responsibility of watching over the Bifrost. But anyways, as Mjolnir arrives, he turns around, looks at it, and Tony's written on there, "Nice shot, enjoy your retirement." And Lady Sif at the same time is telling them, "Look, I've got this. Your smiting days are done. You need to go and be king." So he heads to his palace, and when he arrives there, it's not the golden shimmering palace of Odin. He's actually redone it in his image, in that it's wood and it's stone and it's hard, and it's very, very much that of what you would think of a Norse god. And it's not long into doing the business of the realm that Thor just kind of gets tired of what's going on, and this burden of being a king is kind of weighing on him. And of course, when the burdens are heavy, who else would show up but Loki? And Loki, of course, has to poke and prod and asks, well, how does it feel to sit on Father's throne? And Thor comes back immediately with, "I don't know, Loki, I've only ever sat on my own." The king then gets a barb of his own in when he says, "Tell me, King Loki, Lord of the Frost Giants, is it no longer customary to bow when visiting a foreign king?" And Loki gets this disgusted look on his face, but he relents and he bows before the king. It's kind of at that point where Thor gets tired of the games, and he just tells Loki, "Leave me, Loki," and reaches to pick up Mjolnir, and when he does, he grunts to pick it up, and he's off, and Loki kind of stops him and says, "Is it getting heavier then?" And Thor whips around real quick. He asks him, "Mjolnir, I don't recall you ever grunting when you picked it up before." Well, Thor lets his anger get the best of him, turns around and chucks it at Loki, but then stops it right in front of him. And Loki just asks him, "How are you doing this?" And Thor reminds him, "I'm the Allfather now, little brother, clothed in the power that comes with the title. You would do well to remember that." I guess the real question is, what is Loki asking right here? What is it that Thor is doing that has Loki asking this? But anyways, Thor does go on to admit that, Loki is one that is observant. He is nervous about the speech he has to give, and Mjolnir, for whatever reason, Thor has been feeling the weight of it, and it says that he soon will realize that. And he steps outside, and suddenly the temperature drops and snow begins to fall, and Galactus falls from the sky onto Asgard. Thor immediately picks up Mjolnir, charges in, lights up a bolt of lightning, and just brings it down on Galactus and asks him, "Galactus, you dare!" And as Thor brings the hammer up to deliver another blow, Galactus raises his hand and says, "Stop! I came for help. You are the only one who can... The Star Plague, the Great Black Winter, it is come." And he passes out right there on the ground of Asgard. From there, we jump forward a couple weeks, and Asgard is assessing the situation at hand. And one of the things that we find out is that Yggdrasil, the World Ash, the Tree of Life, it's dying. Another thing mentioned here is that the city officials are counting the dead, but it's unclear if that's because of whatever this winter plague is, or if that's just where Galactus fell on the city. But King Thor hasn't been sitting idle. He has sent out a summons via his ravens to all the heralds of Galactus, or the former heralds of Galactus, called them in and asking them, what exactly is the Black Winter? And it's actually Norrin Radd who steps through a wall as he arrives and tells them it's the end of everything. And Thor's kind of taken aback because this is the first time he has seen Silver Surfer in his new black form, and he asks, "What, my friend? What has happened to you?" And he says, "A tale for another time, perhaps. We got to act quickly." But if you're interested to see how Silver Surfer became this Silver Surfer Black, you can go check out my playlist. I'll link it right here, and I'll have the link at the end of the video. From there, we get a lot of backstory about Galactus, going into how he survived the destruction of a universe, how previously, and how he was the only survivor to come through to this universe. But more importantly, we find out that this is what ended that previous universe. And they also believe that because Galactus is the only one to survive this, he is the one that must face it again. And Silver Surfer has a plan, because he, while the Herald of Galactus, he found 5 planets that if Galactus consumes, he can become absolutely insanely powerful. So in order for Galactus to have a chance against this Black Winter, he must be taken to these 5 planets, consume them, and their properties, their unique properties for whatever reason, will make Galactus more powerful. Does that make sense? Of course, Norrin Radd says that he will be his herald for this journey, but Thor makes it really clear that he is not going alone. He's going to have the King of Asgard along with him for the ride. From there, they prepare, they gather their forces, and they march out to meet Galactus. And as Galactus stands there, Thor approaches him, raises Mjolnir, and demands, "Galactus, kneel!" And Galactus kneels before the new Allfather, and Norrin can already feel Galactus inside of his head and says, "I could feel you there. I could feel you in my head, Galactus. I assume you know the plan at this point of the truth." And of course, Galactus is tracking, and he's actually impressed that the Surfer could shield his mind from Galactus and keep these planets secret from him for such a long time. He's actually impressed. But with that, the Surfer tells him that King Thor has agreed to accompany them with his basically all his denizens. That way we can ensure your safety until you feed. So shall we begin? And Norrin lowers his head, bows, and calls Galactus master. And Galactus responds, "No." And Norrin's just like, "No, I don't understand." And Galactus starts explaining the frost, the star plague. It is not a being. Each galaxy or entity that gazes into it perceives it differently, just as I'm perceived differently by each of you. The Black Winter, however, when you gaze into it, you see the form of your own death, your true death. I've seen it twice now. Once when I was Galen, I watched my universe die before my eyes, and I saw nothing. It was a void, a great blackness. But then I saw it again. And do you know what I saw then, Norrin? What I saw as the embodiment of my one true death. And he raises his hand and starts powering up and yells, "I saw Thor!" and blasts him. And Norrin just yells, "No!" And the Allfather's just sitting there getting blasted by this. Volstagg reaches out. Lady Sif holds him back and tells him, "No, the power will kill you." And as Galactus continues to pour on this power, he says, "I did not happen upon Asgard. I did not come here for asylum. If you are to be my end, Thunder God, then we will kill the Black Winter together. And when we are done, I would have you close, so that I may have words with thee. Rise, herald of thunder. And with that, we have what promises to be an exciting, just honestly an amazing run coming up from Donny Cates, from Nic Klein. This book is going to be really good, guys. Just go ahead and look at, metal 80s rock ballad Thor here. Absolutely looks amazing. It's got the arm back. He's no longer running around with the destroyer arm, which was actually pretty cool. A lot better than the golden arm thing he had going on for a little bit. If this isn't on your pull list yet, I definitely recommend it. It looks like, based off the preview page for next week, that Thor's still going to take a couple shots at old Galactus here. They're not done. They're not done yet. If you're interested in learning more about Silver Surfer, the trade paperback is now available. I've got videos on it as well, and Annihilation Scourge. He made an appearance in that. It was pretty significant in that whole storyline, so I recommend, if you're really into Silver Surfer, definitely go pick up that run. Anyways, guys, I just broke 3,000 subscribers, and I'm very incredibly humbled by that. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to hit the subscribe button, leaving comments, leaving likes on the page and everything. Everything you do to share these videos just helps it get in more hands and helps the channel grow, and I'm extremely humbled by hitting 3,000. Can't believe I've gotten here, and thank you to all of you. Make sure you get out and support your LCS, guys, and that's all I got. Real Comic Stacks out.